Joining us now is Hilary Fordwich, President and founder of Strelmark. Hilary, great to see you. Let's start with Elon Musk. He's announced the creation of the America Party, aiming to shake up America's two-party system. And he's indicated the party will stand for free speech and reduced regulations. Donald Trump has blasted the tech billionaire, saying that Elon has gone off the rails. He wrote on Truth Social, "I'm saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the past 5 weeks. He even wants to start a third political party despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The one thing third parties are good for is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. And we have enough of that with the radical left Democrats who have lost their confidence and their minds." He also had this to say to reporters.
Reaction to Elon Musk starting a third party.
I think it's ridiculous to start a third party. We have a tremendous success with the Republican Party. The Democrats have lost their way, but it's always been a two-party system. And I think starting a third party just adds to confusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but I think it's ridiculous.
Hilary, what do you make of this? Has Elon gone off the rails? And what are his chances of succeeding, really?
Well, pleasure to be back with you again, Gabriella. Yes, the word I thought of immediately was that this is just divisive, more divisive in the US. It's a very polarized nation as it is. And I think that President Trump is totally right. A third party has never worked in the US. In 1992, Ross Perot basically was a spoiler and handed the election to President Clinton at the time with only a 2-point margin. And that, of course, probably would have gone to the then Republican Bush. So it's only ever been disruptive and it's been divisive. And with regard to Elon Musk, I also do think he should really do far better by his companies. Tesla's stock is not well. The shipments have gone down, and the boards of directors of both Tesla and its other firms have actually said, Gabriella, they want him to pay more attention to them. I mean, think about SpaceX. That is not doing well either. He needs to dedicate to his businesses.
Yeah, I think he was doing well with what he was attempting to do with Doge, but it's time that he gets back to his businesses now. Now, Trump has signed his $3.3 trillion big, beautiful bill. This, of course, includes tax cuts. It allocates hundreds of billions of dollars for defence and for mass deportations to be carried out. It rolls back green energy tax credits and includes Medicaid reforms. Let's just take a look. This was a big win for the president. Just how significant is this and what impact is it going to have?
Well, I think it is a big win. It is one of the biggest bills ever passed in American history. And despite what the doomsayer Democrats have been saying, this actually will be a huge contribution to reducing the deficit. The scoring, which is the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, they actually use something called static scoring, which is leaving things the way they were. Dynamic scoring is with all the reshoring, Gabriella, and all of the tax deductions and all the expensing for businesses and the tariffs, let alone all the deregulation, there will be such a huge generation of dollars from more tax receipts as well as manufacturing in the US. The estimation by static scoring is, of course, an increased deficit, as I mentioned, but dynamic scoring, it is that it will be at least $2 billion reduction to the deficit. Now, Elon Musk, my last point, links the two stories together, which is it actually eliminates all the EV mandates. And Elon Musk was not very happy, despite him being for all the Doge, about all the that he has received. He is not happy that those have been terminated. So I think that's part of the reason that he's running. And I think this big, beautiful bill isn't perfect, Gabriella, but it is one of the best things we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Now, while I was away, socialist Zohran Mamdani won the Democratic New York City mayoral primary, and he's as radical as it gets. His track record includes calling to defund the police. He's clearly anti-Israel, sparking serious concerns for the Jewish community in New York if he is elected mayor. And his campaign policy document calls for shifting the city's tax burden onto richer and whiter neighbourhoods. Also, he doesn't believe in billionaires. Look at this.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Hilary, what are your thoughts on Mamdani and what is going to happen to New York City if he wins?
Well, I do think that the realtors in Florida are happier than ever because New Yorkers are fleeing to Florida.
Absolutely.
Yes. Regarding New Yorkers, though, I think what is really tragic about this is that he comes from a very wealthy family. I think that there should be a national amendment to the Constitution in the United States, which is you cannot run for office unless you've built a business and or made payroll. I don't think he understands where money comes from. Margaret Thatcher was very famous for saying there's no such thing as a free lunch. I think he thinks that money must come out of the sky because if billionaires aren't great people in all the taxes they pay 40% of the taxes. Once the billionaires leave and the millionaires leave, there's no one left to tax anymore. And last but not least, Margaret Thatcher also said, the problem with socialism is you run out of spending other people's money.
Correct. And that is a lesson he should probably learn. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington as we speak. He's just met with President Trump and he handed Donald Trump a letter showing him that he has nominated Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I want to get your thoughts on that in a moment. And leaders were also asked about how close a peace deal is between Israel and Hamas. And this is what Steve Witkoff had to say.
There was a security incident in northern Gaza today, right around the time that the Prime Minister was meeting with Secretary of State, Mr. Steve Witkoff. Does that, and a number of IDF soldiers reportedly have been injured, possibly killed, does that in any way put a wrinkle in ceasefire negotiations with Hamas?
I don't think so. They want it. They want to meet and they want to have that ceasefire. So I don't think so. Steve, could you respond to this? You know about it?
Well, I think it's terribly unfortunate. Terribly unfortunate. We were just talking about it, how tragic it is, but we have an opportunity to finally get a peace deal, Mr. Prime Minister, as we discussed, and I'm hopeful for it very quickly.
Hilary, I'd love to get your thoughts on Donald Trump being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, but also your thoughts on Steve Witkoff's comments just now. Is this a turning point, do you think, in bringing the war in Gaza to an end?
Well, two things there, two questions. Yes, the first point with regard to the Nobel Peace Prize, actually, there are many who say, and I tend to agree that he should have received it when he initiated the Abraham Accords during his first administration. So I think this is better late than never, I would say. And definitely he's done more for peace in the Middle East than any president that I can think of in any of our lifetimes. I'm certainly in a region that's seen thousands of years of infighting. So I think it's well-deserved and the right kind of timing. With regard to Steve Witkoff, he's also, by the way, just if I might make mention, been really great in terms of these negotiations. And I think there is a chance for a peace negotiation. I sure hope so, because I've been invited to a state dinner in Tel Aviv with Ambassador Huckabee and President Herzog in August, where
Brilliant.
we're Knesset site visit. So I'm hoping by then, yes. And I think that it's on the table. It's looking good as it's been in thousands of years.
Oh, Hilary, please keep us posted on that. Look, Donald Trump also took several questions from reporters, which is so refreshing when you compare him to Joe Biden that we had for years. But looking at him, watching that exchange between Donald Trump and the reporters during his meeting with Netanyahu, he also said that Iran has reached out for talks. Donald Trump also revealed that once again, he's not happy with Putin by refusing to end the war. And he said that the US will be sending more weapons to Ukraine.
Ukraine, Mr. President, are you planning to send more weapons to Ukraine?
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard now. They're getting hit very hard. We're going to have to send more weapons. Yeah, defensive weapons primarily, but they're getting hit very, very hard. Very sad. So many people are dying in that mess.
Hilary, this would be welcome news for Ukraine.
Yes, I think so. Resuming those weapon shipments. And I think President Trump is definitely a man of peace. And Gabriella, he's one of the few leaders that you ever hear always talking about, the sadness of the loss of lives. There's definition of war, which is when old men send young men to die. He's somebody who does not want to send young men or women to die. And I think that sadly, this is necessary. And as he made the point, he's very disappointed in Putin, as I think the whole world is. Can't see what Putin's final objectives are. He's not popular anywhere in the world.
Let's talk about tariffs. Donald Trump has threatened new tariffs on any nation supporting anti-American policies of the BRICS group. In a Truth Social post, Trump said that the US would impose an additional 10% tariff on any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS. Now, this is, of course, an alliance that comprises of 10 countries, including China, Russia and Iran. And Donald Trump has also sent tariff letters today to 12 countries. This includes Japan and South Korea that have been hit with a 25% tariff. And the letter also said if for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added onto the 25% that we charge. So Donald Trump has been keeping the world guessing with tariffs. We've spoken about this before, but what are your thoughts on this development?
Well, I think really, it's fascinating to me. I don't know who made all the former trade deals the US had historically, because they totally and utterly hollowed out American manufacturing and American jobs. I think that what he's talking about is fair and reciprocal across the world. And I do think it's going to rebalance global trade. I don't think this is to the detriment of other nations. Other nations need America more than the US needs them. And I think this is going to end up actually being beneficial across the globe, not just for the US. Why? Because everyone needs the US markets.
Before I let you go, Hilary, let's talk about the UK. The UK is set to lose more millionaires than any other country this year. Figures from advisory firm Henley and Partners predict that 16,500 millionaires will leave Britain in 2025. I mean, just how bad is this for the UK?
Well, it's terrible. It's ghastly. A millionaire leaves, yes, every 45 minutes. And one of the things I always say is they say history repeats itself. This is what happened before Margaret Thatcher came to power. Actually, it's when we emigrated to the United States. This has happened before. The UK used to be the sick man of Europe until she brought it back. I think it's ghastly and it's very, very sad. I think it's right at the very bottom of all the global migration statistics. And I do think Keir Starmer, the recent poll was that only 61% disapprove of him. I wonder why it's so low.
Absolutely, that's right. This comes as Keir Starmer's approval rating hits an all-time low, with 61% of people thinking that he is doing a bad job. Hilary Fordwich, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, Gabriella.